Well, every once in a while, a book comes across your desk that is very unique, and I was grabbed from page one. That is the case with the book by Laura Carney called My Father's Lists, How Living My Dad's Dream Set Me Free. And it's a great pleasure to welcome the author of that book, Laura Carney. Laura, hello there.
Hi, thanks for having me. I'm so excited.
I am excited to have you. As I mentioned, you had me at page one with this book. I can't claim this line. I heard a journalist say to you, and I found this apropos, is the book is a dream come true that you got it done, but it was born of a nightmare. You pick it up from there and the story behind My Father's List.
Thank you. So my father was killed by a distracted driver, a teenager making a phone call when I was only 25. And I didn't really fully comprehend at that age how to cope with the grief and also over the trauma of that event. So I sort of just kept going, and I leaned on my boyfriend, who's now my husband, who got to meet my dad one time, thank goodness. And from that point forward, I really just became almost a workaholic. I just thought I just want to seem like a normal adult, even though this very extraordinary thing has happened to my family. And by the time I was 35, I discovered advocacy, and I started working with safe driving groups to try to help people understand why this phenomenon has become so enormous. And eventually, when I got married, I felt so much better about my dad not being there to walk me down the aisle, because I had turned my journalism into that advocacy and used the platform I'd built. By then, I was working in national magazines in America. And basically, 6 months after I walked down the aisle, my brother made the most extraordinary discovery, which was it turned out to be my dad's bucket list, and we didn't even know he had one. And as soon as we saw it, my husband said exactly what I was thinking, which was, this is your book. This is how you're going to honor your father. And, hopefully maybe raise some awareness too.
It's so interesting because you take this bucket list on. Your dad writes it when he's 29, I believe, and you and your brother go, okay, he accomplished 6 so far, and you look at it, and it's such an amazing list, because every one you tackle that I read about in your book, it comes with some background about yourself and the struggles that you went through, and it's everything from skydiving, of course, bucket list stuff, but it's also like planting watermelon seeds or driving a Corvette and the meaning behind that. Tell our viewers a little more about the journey that you went on, because everything you check off has something behind it, including what I found remarkable that involved the former president, Jimmy Carter.
Sure. As I said, when I started my mission to finish the list for my dad, it was something I was setting out to do to honor him and also to maybe raise awareness. I didn't understand at the time the level at which I was sort of repressing grief and wasn't dealing with it. So one thing I started discovering as I did each one of these list items was that it was healing me. I have a really great friend who lives in Canada, and he said with every single list item, I was leaving another piece of baggage behind. So as I'm learning how to, not really learning, but remembering how to have fun with my dad on each of these dreams that he had, like grow a watermelon, which I thought I was going to fail at because I worked in the city and I never grew anything, and it turned out to work out. And, like talk with the president. That one actually was accomplished with the help of my Canadian friend. His name is Arthur Milnes, and he was a speechwriter to your prime ministers. And we just by happenstance ended up at the hotel at the counter in Plains, Georgia, at the very moment that Art had gotten there. And we befriended him, and we talked to him for 3 hours about Jimmy Carter in the parking lot. And the reason I was there to meet Jimmy Carter was because the list item said talk with the president, and he was president in 1978 when my dad wrote the list.
Also, I think, as you said, I mean, the title of the book about your dad's dream setting you free, you kind of rewrote the narrative, no longer the victim, and feeling the freedom. And I have to say, your book ends, I'm not giving anything away by any means, but I loved that in your epilogue at the end of the book, you talk about the journey you're on and how it just seems to bring other people toward you and gravitate. And I look at things that people do to get through their grief. You meet a gentleman whose husband Nelson passed away suddenly, and so his journey is to not only go to where they had planned to go for their honeymoon, but he's going to try to visit every city named Nelson in America. Or you meet another gentleman who lost his son, who plans to play catch. And you were part of this, play catch with like 300 strangers. I just found it so touching the way people deal with grief and try to pull a positive out of that, because you also said, I love this line, that there's an emotion more expansive than grief, and that is love.
Wow, I'm so impressed you did your homework.
I could not put the book down. I had a lot of work that got pushed aside because I couldn't put this book down. But
yeah, well, I wrote about love because that was my husband. He was my boyfriend at the time when my father died, and he helped me through it. He helped me survive it. Even though he had only known me 3 months, he knew this was an emotional process, that grief wasn't who I had become. It was a thing I was working through, and he knew that person who he fell in love with was still there underneath. And I really do think when someone dies in a tragic way, people become afraid. They don't know what to say. They don't know what to do. And really all you have to do is just be there and just make the person understand that I'm here for you. Whatever you need, I'm here. Like, just your very presence does it.
it is a lovely book, and I'm happy to say you informed me that I was wondering when it was coming out in Canada. It's out in the States, but that it's available on Amazon, and you said it's doing very well with Canadians. That's great to hear, Laura. The book is called My Father's List, How My Living My Dad's Dreams Set Me Free. Laura Carney, what a great read, Laura. I can't thank you enough for this. And more details, it's by lauracarney.com. Laura, thank you for taking the time to talk with us, and we wish you the best luck going forward and helping others through their grief.
Thank you so much. And I love Canada. I had to wear maple leaf red today.
Oh, very nice. Thank you, Laura.
Thank you.